right. Good morning and welcome to our classical order mat Pilates this morning. My name is Marilyn Harder. I am master trainer and Pilates instructor, and we'll get started here in just a few minutes. Joseph Pilates first developed contrology when he was in an internment camp. A little history while we're waiting. And during that time of his internment, the Spanish flu ran rampant in through the just the whole European nations. And it hit his internment camp really, really hard. However, all of his followers stayed well throughout the entire process. So no one actually got the Spanish flu. It's credited for sunshine, fresh air, and exercise that focused on deep breathing as a way to reduce stress and also help boost the immune system. So I think it's also very poignant to talk about those things this morning as part of Pilates Day. So with that, I think we've got about another 30 seconds or so. We are going to be starting on our mat in a supine position, which is laying on our backs. A lot of what Joseph Pilates taught in contrology has a lot of forward flexion, which means that deep C curve within the spine. If you have disc issues or injuries or anything going on in your back, osteoporosis, you may want to modify to stay neutral. If this is too much flexion, it might not be the right workout for you, but I am going to teach in layers. We're not going to just come hot and heavy in some of these more advanced exercises, and then I'm also going to peel back a little bit on some of the more advanced exercises, and you're welcome to do them if you know how, but I won't cue you through them. All right, with that, we're going to go ahead and start with our Pilates breath. I want you to take your hands into a diamond, thumbs together, fingertips together, and go ahead and place them right underneath your belly button. Fingertips rest on your pubic bone. Try and get those fingers or that hand parallel with the ceiling, and just try and hold that there. We're going to take a really nice big inhale in through the nose. Feel the ribs expand to all four lobes of those lungs. And then exhale, blow out all that air completely through the mouth, feeling those ribs cinch in and sink down towards the floor. Keeping those hands parallel with the ceiling in neutral. We'll go again. Nice big inhale in. Exhale. Feel that internal corset start to fire. We'll go one more. And we're going into our pelvic tilts to wake up our spine and engage our abs. Big inhale in through the nose. Exhale, roll an imaginary marble towards the belly button, using the abdominals and not your back, and then roll it back towards the pubic bone. And as you continue to do so, if you notice things like your chin jutting up towards the ceiling as you rock back, you might be a little compressed. Maybe you create a little space within your spine, and then you can continue with the movement without affecting everything up the chain. We'll go ahead and go one more, using those deep abdominals, pubic bone to belly button, and back to neutral. All right, we're going to rock our boat from right to left. Keep the knees steady, shoulders steady. We're going to roll the pelvis or the marble towards the left side. I push down on my ASIS to do that and roll it to the right. And we're going to do that one more time, and then we're going into a circle, waking up those abdominals. Coming back to center, we'll roll that marble towards the belly button, around towards one side, down towards the pubic bone, and up and around. The first exercise within the original order is a 100. So we're going to start with just some prep here for the 100, and then let's go the other direction, rolling towards the belly button, down one side, back towards the pubic bone, and up the other direction. Again, keeping those knees as steady as possible. All right, last one, come back to center, and let's go ahead and roll into imprint. So imprint is when that marble is towards the belly button. All right, we're going to exhale out completely, floating those hands up and over your head at about 45. Inhale in, find the length of the spine. Exhale, chest lift up. Eyes gaze towards those thighs. Come up as high as you can, and now take a moment, flip the palms up towards the ceiling and open up your chest. Squeeze a $100 bill underneath the armpit, flip just the palms. This is the position in which we pump. And then we'll go ahead and lower it all the way back down. Maintaining imprint, we'll go ahead and warm up the low core. Engage the glutes. Draw those knees into a tabletop position, leave that head down. All right, now, let's take those arms up and over. Inhale in here to begin. Exhale, chest lift up. Try and find that same connection. $100 bill behind the armpit, chin into the throat, deep neck flexors. And let's lower it down. Now we're going into the full 100 space. You can stay in wherever it feels right for you. Joseph Pilates always started from the ground and floated up. So finding that imprint, hands come up over our head, chest lift up, eyes gaze towards those toes. As you see them, float them 1 to 2 inches off the floor. Find that $100 bill behind the armpit. I like a Pilates V. Start to pump those arms. We're going to inhale for 5 counts. Exhale, blow out all that air. Try and flatten things out. Don't let it pop up like a bread basket. Exhale. That's 20. Come up from the ribs, reach a little bit more. That's 30. In his original book, Return to Life Through Contrology, 40, he said start out with 50, which is what we're going to do. Go ahead and lower those legs down, come up and over, take a little momentary reset. He said eventually work your way up to that full 100. So we're going to do 2 sets of 50. Shoulders back and down, arms come up and over. Exhale, chest lift up. Rock down at those ribs, see those toes, float those legs up. Remember, you can go back to tabletop, start pumping the arms. Imagine there's really heavy springs underneath those hands and you're pumping them or pressing them to the floor. Exhale, 20. Inhale for 5. Exhale for 30. Inhale for 5. Exhale for 40. One more. And that's our 100. Lower those legs down. Lower those hands up and over. We're going into a roll up. I'll start first with an assisted roll up, tucking the fingers underneath the low back. Inhale to hold length. Exhale, start to chest lift up, lever at those ribs, eyes gaze towards the toes. Push to those hands if you need an assist and dive over towards those toes, rounding it through. Keep that lengthened C curve. Curl down through that pelvis. Allow yourself to keep the C curve all the way down until the top of your pelvis hits. Then you can slowly unfurl to the floor. We're doing 3. Hands come up overhead. Inhale there. You can go in for the assist if you want, or round it up and over. Deep C curve, lengthen through that spine as you hollow over. Should feel like a chest lift. Now we're going to rock that C curve back, keeping that deep C curve, rolling along the natural curvature of that pelvis and tailbone all the way to the floor. Last and final one. Inhale there. Exhale, chest lift up. Keep that chin drawn in towards the chest. Round it up and over. Lengthen up and over an imaginary barrel. And then we'll go ahead and roll it back down. The next exercise is rollover. Rollover can compress the neck, so we're doing rollover prep instead. All right, we're going to take those hands down by our sides. We're going to draw one knee into tabletop, then the other. We're going to start with just a reverse curl. Let's go ahead and place the hands underneath the sacrum just to give them a rock-off point first. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to engage the glutes. We're going to start with a little toe tap here. Lower abdominals are fired. And go as low as you can. Now you're going to use that momentum. Shoulders are broad, collarbone is broad. And scoop up and press those hands. And it's a reverse curl. Now for me, I try to recruit too much of my upper abdominals rather than scooping with my deep lower abdominals And then all of a sudden my head pops up. So if your head pops up, you're using the upper part of that rectus abdominis rather than lower abs. Joseph Pilates did 5 rollovers. And we'll go last one. And again, this is not full rollover. It's a non-compressive rollover. And let's go ahead and set those feet down one at a time. All right, arms are gonna go wide and low. We're gonna keep our knees bent for a moment. Next exercise is one leg circle. Extend that left leg up towards the ceiling. Make sure your hips are squared. Don't let that hip upslip. And we're gonna draw a circle on the ceiling about the size of a basketball. The goal is to keep that femur really heavy within that hip joint without rocking. And then let's go ahead and extend that right leg and do 3 more circles. The goal is to keep the pelvis totally neutral. So remember that triangle on the low belly, keep that parallel with the ceiling. Good, now this is our last one here, and we'll reverse it. This is not full single leg circle yet. This is our prep. We're going for stability and disassociation, meaning that our leg and our femur move independent from the pelvis. We'll go ahead and go one more here, and then go ahead and bend that leg down and hold it there. Right leg comes up, hands can go back by your side, and we're going for that first prep with the support. So 3 in each direction, supported and unsupported. Use the glutes. We're going to eventually move to a rotation across the center. And let's reverse it. Again, disassociation. Don't let your pelvis rock. Don't let that boat rock from side to side as you move. We'll go ahead and go one more. And let's extend that leg. And let's go 3 in each direction. Same thing. Stabilizing. We want all the muscles within our hip to fire. So we want our glutes, inner thighs, quads, abs, everything. And let's reverse it. Good. So we're going to go back to neutral, warm up the obliques, and then go for that full rotation. Now, if rotation is not for your body, you maintain one of the variations of single leg circle. All right, so toes are tapping. I'm going to flip my palms up towards the ceiling, and I'm going to let my knees roll to one side, use my abdominals, and draw it back up to center. Again, this is not part of the original order, but I like prep work before I go into hard things, just to tell my body what exactly I want from it. So when we add in that full single leg circle, my shoulders are going to stay flat like this, and the leg is going to come across the body. All right, go ahead and come back to center, and let's go ahead and extend out that first leg. All right, other leg comes up towards the ceiling. We're going to go ahead and take the leg across the body, only as far as we can keep our shoulders square. And with control, we're reaching away towards the toes. And we're going to come open just as wide as we came across and draw it across center. Don't let those ribs pop. And we'll go again. In his book, he said everything should be done with purpose. Everything should be done with control. He was the original earn your progression. All right, this is number 3. And then we're going to reverse the direction. He said anywhere from 3 to 12 was his number. So the combination of the prep plus this full variation will bring us to about 9 to 10, which is in each direction. So in each direction, which is right in line with how he originally taught. Good. Make sure that space is not getting compressed between the hip and the rib. And then we'll go ahead and bring it center, lower that leg down. All right, using those abdominals, glutes, bring that other leg up towards the ceiling, neck stays long. Let's go ahead and take it across the body, keeping your shoulders square, taking it down and around, reaching and lengthening away. Coming out and over and across. Now, at any time your body says, this is not for me, don't push through. We always want to move in a way today that allows us to come back tomorrow. So that was the premise of everything. Start low with control, controlology, and then move and add from there. And reverse it. Take it open wide. Scoop it across. Use your obliques, not just the momentum of the leg, to draw your abdominals over. And then also draw the hip back down towards the floor. I like my arms out wide because it really keeps my scapula, shoulder blades honest. I can tell the moment I'm about to go too far. Last and final one. After single leg circle, we're going into rolling like a ball or rolling back. So let's go ahead and extend that leg out. We'll do a roll up to come up. Arms come up overhead or behind your back. Exhale, chest lift up. Eyes gaze towards those toes. Maintain that deep C curve. Dive it up and towards the toes, and then we're going to restack it back up nice and tall. All right, let's go ahead and find our balance point for rolling like a ball. We want to find our little tippy toes, and I'm going to hang on to the front of my shins, hollow into that deep C curve without dumping or compressing. Think lengthen and hollow. Eyes gaze towards the pubic bone. Now go ahead and rock back into that balance point between your sits bones and tailbone, and just breathe here for a moment. So as you breathe and balance, try and squeeze in the inner thighs, find the glutes, etc. There should be a small space for a ball behind your legs and a ball between your head and your thighs. Your breath is a locomotion here. The big inhale in, the last little sip of air is going to draw you back. You exhale once before your head hits. Exhale a second time to come back up. All right, nice big inhale in. And it goes without saying, if you have disc issues, do not do this. Osteoporosis, do not do this. Okay, nice big inhale in. Last little sip. And pause. There should be little to no movement within your neck. Pause. He did 5 to 6, 3, 4. We're going to 6, 5. Last one. 6. And now go ahead and slowly roll it back and pause in that nice tall ball position. Pulling the shins in towards your chest. You're going to extend your left leg out as low as you can go. Inside hand is coming to the knee. Outside hand is coming to the ankle. Now you want to pull it in to get the stretch, but also to get that counter connection within the core. And we're going to go ahead and inhale here. And exhale, slowly switch. Sorry, I said that backwards. Inhale, slowly switch. Exhale, pull it in. Inhale, slowly switch. And switch. Good. Keep going. Finding that oppositional connection. Deep neck flexors. Draw the chin in towards your throat. Find those glutes. We're going for 5 pairs, so we've got one more. Without setting the head down, we're going to bring both knees back in and pause and hold. If you need to set your head down, do it. We're going into a double leg stretch. You can support your head if you need to, or you can go into full choreography. Now, legs and arms are going in opposite directions. Joseph Pilates, scoop the arms right back center, grabbed in, found that stretch. And go again. Flatten that core. Draw it in. Go again. 3. And draw it back in. We're going to 6. Double what I normally teach. If you need to support that head at any time, do it. 2 more. If you want to add that circular arm, add a little circumduction of that shoulder. You can. Last one. Deep neck flexor. Come back in. Tuck those knees. Rock up to a seated position. All right, we're going into spine stretch. Let's take those legs about the distance of your mat. Make sure you're on the peaks of those sits bones. Shoulders or ribs are stacked right over the pelvis. Shoulders are stacked over the ribs. Head draws up over those shoulders. Think of this as a seated chest lift. Inhale to grow tall. Exhale, seated chest lift. Round only as far forward as you can keep that activation. And then inhale, stack back up. We're doing 3. Exhale, round it forward. And inhale, stack back up. Number 3. Exhale, round it forward. And inhale, stack back up. We're going into open leg rocker. We're not doing the full variation because it's more likely to roll on your neck. But we're going to do our balance here. So let's find that sits bone to tailbone balance, little tripod. And we're going to go ahead and draw our legs, grab out to the outer corner of the ankle. Extend one leg up, outer quarter of the ankle, extend the other up, pause and hold. Now if you're thinking, gosh, I can't be there, just bend those knees, grab as high as you can on that ankle, and connect shoulder blades back and down. Then you can play with extending one leg. You can play with extending the other. If you're already up there, just think about creating length and not dumping. So think about that length, but a deep hollow in the core. Let's go ahead and open and close those legs a few times. And that's going to be our nod to that open leg rocker. And we'll go last one. Go ahead and bring those knees in, and we'll slowly peel it back down. All right. We're going to set those toes down for a moment. We're going into corkscrew with no rollover next. So to prepare ourselves, we're going back into that circular pelvic clock. Exhale, roll that marble towards the belly button, down one side and towards the pubic bone. Up the other side and back to the belly button. This is going to be the locomotion for our knee circles, which is a corkscrew prep. And let's go the other direction. And I am trying to keep my knees steady, but they're following there. Don't follow. And came back to center. All right, hands are going to go low for a moment and wide. So low and wide like a V. Draw your knees into that tabletop position and engage through those glutes. Now I'm starting neutral. I'm going to roll that marble towards the belly button. Squeeze my inner thighs. Roll it down one side, towards the pubic bone, towards the other side, and drop back towards the belly button. Now continue in that direction. If you want to make it harder, extend those legs. You can lower them as low as it feels good, drawing it back up. So you should feel like you go down one side of the back, meet in the center, up the other side of the back, and come back in. Bend those knees, we'll go the other way. Knee circles the other direction, towards the pubic bone. Don't arch through the back. Neutral or imprint only. Start that mobilization. Your toes should follow, but if they've left in one place, I'm okay with that. Okay, now, if you want it to be harder, extend those legs. I'm getting shaky here. Lowering it as low as we can go. Up the other side. We'll go ahead and go one more. I think I did 2 more on the other side. One more for good luck. Just try to keep that spacing here. Come back to center. Bend those knees. Set them to the floor. All right, fully extend those legs. We're going to roll up and we're going to be going into saw. So I'm going to take my feet a little wider than the mat for my roll up. Inhale, up and over. Exhale, chest lift up, rolling and rounding it up to that tall seated position, lengthening through the crown of my head. Arms are going out to a T. Draw the ribs over the pelvis, shoulders over the ribs, head over the shoulders. All right, now I'm going to exhale, rotate to one side. Now I'm going to spine stretch, rounding, and my pinky finger is going towards my pinky toe. And I'm going to saw it for 3. Squeezing out the air in the lungs. 2. And 1. Restack it back up nice and tall. Inhale to lengthen. Exhale, rotate. Spine stretch forward. Pinky to pinky. Wring out the air in the lungs for 3. 4, 2. 4, 1. stack back up nice and tall. We'll go ahead and go one more each way. Rotate, round, and saw. Stack back up, and other way. I lied when I said one more each way because he did 3. Stack back up. Make sure your sits bones are narrowing. Pelvic floor draws in. Last one. Rotate. Flip the back palm. Listen to your bicep. Saw for 3. And 2. And 1. Stack back up. Last but not least. Rotate. And round. And 3. 2. And 1. Draw it all the way back to center. And we're going to go ahead and roll it all the way back down. We're going to roll over into our prone position. So as we roll over into our prone position, we want to organize here for a moment before we go into swan dive. Let's go ahead and walk our legs away, decompressing anything within the spine and the hips, pointing those toes. And now I want you to push the pubic bone forward. As you push the pubic bone forward, your hip bone should lift a bit. Exhale completely. Draw those ribs in. All right, we're going to start with a small swan before we then go into swan dive. I want you to lift up using your mid-back. So we're going to draw our shoulder blades back and down. Start to lift up only as high as we can lift with our musculature. Not pushing through the ground, just musculature. And then lower it back down. If you're really strong, take those hands with you. Start to lift it up. Just don't dump into your low back. Push that pubic bone forward. And then lower. We'll go one more here. And then lower back down. We're warming up your mid-back, upper thoracic muscles. Hands are in line with your ears now. And now we're going to lift with our musculature. 1. Push the pubic bone forward. Press those hands. Rock yourself up to the place where you can control and not sit into that low back. And then slowly lower it down to where you've done it with your own muscles. And then release those arms, lower back down with your own musculature. Let's do that one more time. Lift it up. Use your own musculature. Now go ahead and press. Come up as high as you can go. Now, if that is too much for you, stay here. Don't go into swan dive. Otherwise, activate that glute fold. Joseph Pilates sent those arms out to the side for swan dive. Big inhale in, lengthen. Exhale, and catch. Total of 6. And 3 more. Keep everything tight. And 2. 1. And go ahead and sit it on back. All right, give ourselves a quick little child's pose, getting a nice good deep breath into that back body, working out anything that built up. And let's go ahead and lower ourselves back into that prone position for single leg kick and double leg kick. All right, hands can rest under the head. Recreate your space. Push your pubic bone forward. Draw those ribs up. Now, single leg kick was all about the hamstring. We want our pelvis to stay neutral as we draw our right heel towards our buns. You should feel this in the belly of that hamstring. And I want you to lengthen and reach it away. We're going to stay with the same one here for a moment. You can flex instead if you're having a hard time finding that muscle. And point and release. Okay, we're going to do one more just single on this side. This is taught in a double kick, but we've got to find that contraction first. And lengthen, and let's do the other side. Now, if you are pushing your pubic bone forward, your pelvis should not move. If you are drawing in those abdominals, your pelvis should not move. If your pelvis is moving, put a towel underneath your hip bones so that way it doesn't jump forward. All right, this is our last single. Also, glutes should be on. And we're going into our true single leg kick. So it's a flex or a point towards the butt. Find the contraction. Now contract it a second time. And then reach and lengthen it away. Move with control. Other side. Contract, contract. Reach and lengthen. Good, we'll go 2 more sets. Contract, contract. Reach and lengthen. You got it. Now, if, again, you're not feeling it with that pointed toe as way it is classically taught, flex. Find it. Find that work. And we've got last one. And lengthen, and we're going into our double leg kick. Double leg kick adds an extension. Hands are either interlaced or stacked one on top of each other right on the sacrum. Pressing that tailbone away, pubic bone presses forward. Good. Now both legs are going to come up, and you're going to find that connection. Connect it again. Second connect. And then lift with your upper mid-back. And then we're going to lower ourselves down. Head goes the other way. And we're going to kick, contract, contract, reach and lengthen, and then draw it down. Push that pubic bone forward, especially as we lift. This is our last set. Push that pubic bone forward and lower. It's really easy to miss that hamstring work, so don't do it. Contract, contract, reach and lengthen, and then we'll go ahead and lower it on down. All right, let's go ahead and press it back into a child's pose. Taking a nice, good, deep breath into that back body. All right, we're going to roll over to a seated position for neck pull. Legs are extended out in front of us. Our hands are going to wrap back behind our head. I like to interlace the fingers, thumbs pointed down on either side of that skull. Now make sure you're not arching through the low back. Pull your ribs over the pelvis, shoulders over the ribs, head stacked over those shoulders. Now, engage the glutes or draw the sits bones narrow. We're going to hinge back to as far as we can hinge without letting our feet lift. I'm going to point and reach my toes the opposite direction. Go as far as you can, then curl your tailbone under, slowly rolling it all the way down, as slow as possible. Now, inhale there at the bottom. The goal is to keep the hands behind the head. Exhale, chest lift up. But if you get stuck, throw those hands forward, and then continue all the way back up. Good. Inhale, lengthen through the crown of your head. Exhale, hinge. This is high intermediate, kind of tiptoeing into that advanced practice. Curl that tailbone under. Slowly start to lower yourself down. Good. Inhale there at the bottom. Exhale, chest lift up. Throw those arms if you need it. Come all the way up to the top. One and final one. Exhale, hinge back. Draw and recruit those abdominals. And then slowly start to curl it under. One vertebrae at a time until you're down at the bottom. All right, we're going into some inverted scissors. Feet are going to plant on the floor, and I'll show you the low version first. Lift those hips, set your hands stacked, one on top of the other, neck is long. Draw your knees into a tabletop position, extend them up towards the ceiling. And we'll lower one leg, scissor the top leg into you second time, and switch. Scissor, pull the top leg in a second time, and switch. Now you can stay here, or you can go into the full inversion. So the full inversion, keep going if that's for you, is lifting up into a nice high bridge, anchoring your elbows, stabilizing your pelvis with your hands, and drawing up to the top. Same thing. Scissor it twice, neck stays long, and switch. Now we'll go ahead and go one more pair. This one I don't love for my neck at home, so I'm going to stay in the low version. And then we're going into a bicycle. So now we're going to be in straight leg lower with one leg, split with the other. Now we're going to bend that leg, straight leg lower as the other one bends into a tabletop. We're going to extend. Straight leg lower as the other bends into tabletop. Good. This is about glute fold and deep lower abdominals. If you are an inverted, it's also those good inverted benefits that are an integral part of yoga. Even here, you should feel a deeper connection within that core. If you're feeling a lot of hip popping, clicking, cracking, you're not tracking within those hips. So make sure maybe externally rotate a bit, take it out of the work. All right, this should be the last of those pairs. And then we'll go ahead and bring it on in. All right, set those feet to the floor. We're going into a bridge. Hands down by our sides. All right,
We're going into a hinge bridge to begin. Spread the toes out wide, press big toe to pinky toes down, heel center. We're going to exhale to connect our core. Second engagement, lift those hips, press the pubic bone forward, reach those knees away. Tailbone, sits bones, reach behind the knee. Lower and tap it down. Think about really walking those heels towards the glutes or pull them towards the glutes. Now this is a hinge. Joseph Pilates taught a shoulder bridge, which was walking those heels really close to the butt and then lifting up so that way you were more on your shoulders. For me, this is not an accessible space, so I like to stay out here to keep out of my low back. We'll go ahead and go a few more. And then on the last one, go ahead and hold it up there, just adding a deepening variation. We're going to take our arms up and over. So we're just adding some arm choreography to help engage our abdominals. Make sure your hips are even, pubic bone presses forward, neck is nice and long. We'll go ahead and go one more. And then go ahead and lower those hips down. All right, we're going to extend those legs out and long. We're coming up again for spine twist. Inhale there. Exhale, chest lift up. Eyes gaze towards those toes. Keep that deep scooped C curve. Dive it forward and restack back up nice and lengthened. All right, take those feet out the width of your mat. Take those arms out to a T. Really reach fingertip to fingertip. Draw in those abdominals, narrow the sits bones, pull the ribs in over the hips. Now we're going to exhale to rotate. Now we're going to rotate it 2 more times. Crunch, crunch. Shh, shh. Inhale across center. Exhale, rotate. Shh, shh, shh. Inhale, center. Now flip the breath. Exhale here. Shh. Inhale, rotate. And center. Shh. Inhale, rotate. Sniff, sniff. And center. Shh. For the third set, pick your favorite breath. Mine is exhale. Shh. 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 Center. Last one. Shh. 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 Center. And draw it back in. We're going to skip over jackknife and roll to our kneeling side kicks. So let's come into a kneeling position, arms out to a T, press the hip bones forward. We're going to take a little cartwheel out to the side, extending that other leg. Now take a moment and organize yourself. Try and drop that rib into the work, push that back hip forward, and then lift that top leg. Top hand goes back behind your head. We're going to dorsiflex that foot, pull the toes towards the knee. And we're going to go ahead and kick it forward. We're going to start with singles, just like we did single leg kick. Point, squeeze the glute, draw it back. Good, flex it forward. And point, draw it back. Let's go ahead and add a double. So find the kick, add a second kick, and point, draw it back. Good, you got it. Kick, kick, and point. Good, you make sure that you're not doing weird things through the spine. Keep that leg on the level. Push your bottom hip forward. We've got 2 more. Last one. Go ahead and bring it on in. We're going to draw it back up to that kneeling position, going the other direction. Let's take our little side cartwheel down. Press the hip forward, press that pubic bone forward, keep shoulders and hips stacked, float that leg. Top hand stabilizes. Start with singles. Sweep it forward, point, draw it back. Sweep it forward, point, draw it back. Try to keep that spine stable. Sweep it forward, point, draw it back. Add that double kick. So kick, kick, sweep, draw it back. You got it. If you have the mobility, bring your hand behind your head thinking about drawing your chin in towards your throat. You get some extra neck work here. Woo, this is a harder side. We've got 2 more. And last one, these feel like a whole lot. And go ahead and draw it back in. All right, we're gonna go ahead and have a seat. And we're going into a teaser. So we're gonna start with a teaser balance here. So let's find the space between our sits bones and tailbone. Point up to our nice toes there. All right, so we're gonna start with our balance, deep scooped C curve. Float our knees up one at a time. You can grab behind those knees, lock your lats back behind your back, lengthen through the crown of your head. All right, in this position, we're gonna extend left leg, draw it down. Try not to let it change the shape of your teaser. And the other. Let's go one more single each side. You got it, deep scoop. Now let's extend both. Now we're gonna open and close again, and it will feel a little bit like what we did in open leg rocker. Now hold it there. See if you can extend those arms. Unbalance, 3, 2. Now we're gonna draw down from the deep low belly, lowering ourselves down. As soon as the sacrum hits, the legs can lower. We're going into 3 full teasers. If that's not for you, don't do it. Go back to balance. All right, nice inhale in. Exhale, chest lift up. As soon as you see those toes, start to float them up. Draw it up, deep C curve. Lengthen and lock the lats. And then curl down through that tailbone. Get that sacrum down first. Slowly lower, taking those arms up and over. We've got 2 more. Inhale there. Exhale. Find those toes. Float them up. Lock into your best teaser. And then slowly articulate it down. Low back down first. Safety. Last but not least, inhale there. Exhale, chest lift up. I see those toes. Float it on up. Hold it there for 4, 4, 3. You can grab 2 and 1. Set it on down. We're going to go ahead and roll into that prone position for swimming. All right, in that prone position, I want you to press your pubic bone forward. For me, taking my legs out a little wider is always better for my body. Now I'm going to float and energize those legs and slowly swim with my legs only. Right glute squeeze, left glute squeeze. The goal again is disassociation, keeping the movement of our femur independent from the movement of our pelvis. Essentially, keep it out of your low back. All right, now if you would like to add on to that motion, we're going to extend the arms out, press the pubic bone down, draw your shoulder blades back and down, and let's swim. Opposite lat, shoulder back and down, opposite glute. Chin draws into your throat. Push the pubic bone forward, draw those abs in. You got it. We're going to go 5 and 4, 3. It should always be done with control. 2 and 1. Even out right to left if you needed to, and lay it on down. All right, we're going to go ahead and place our hands right by our shoulders. Press up into a quadruped position. Curl your toes under. We're going to be stepping out to a plank, going in for leg pull. All right, take a nice good inhale in there. Exhale, press up to your best plank. Think crown of the head reaches forward. Eyes gaze down about 6 inches away from those fingertips. Pubic bone presses forward. Tailbone reaches towards the heels. All right, now we're going to flex as we lift one foot. Point both toes. Flex, set it down. Flex, point, flex, set it down. One more set. Flex, point, flex, set it down. Last one. Flex, point, flex, set it down. Let's go ahead and bring those knees in. Roll over for leg pull front. So for me, leg pull is not amazing for the back of my knees. So I'm going to go ahead and walk my my arms back behind me, fingertips are forward, lengthening those legs away. I'm going to find an external rotation, not to dump into my hyperextended knees. Exhale, lift those glutes up center. Now you can hang out here and just support yourself here. Make sure your collarbone is open. And if you need to, you can always turn your arms out or your hands out. Now, the ultimate goal, I'm going to soften my knees just to demonstrate this, is to be able to lift and march. For me, because I hyperextend, it's too much pressure into my knees. Hold it there for 3, or march. 2, and 1. Lower those hips on down. All right, we're going to finish this out with side bend and plank, omitting some of the more challenging or precarious exercises at the end. So in side bend, we're going to come into this sort of clam position. So start in a long clam. You should have a triangle underneath your armpit. Take the top leg and press it down. So that foot is going to be your foundation here. Without overly thinking about it, I'm going to press through my bottom ankle, top foot, and I'm going to lift it up and over, creating a nice little side bend. And then we're going to go ahead and scoop it down. Pause and hover. Come back up, shoulder blade draws back and down. You got it. We'll go ahead and go one more. And last one. Let's go ahead and lower it on down and switch to the other side. All right. Find that triangle position. Make sure your lat is locked down your back. Find your clam. Anchor your foot. Without overly thinking about it, take a nice big inhale in. Exhale, press it up and over. Find that side bend. Shoulders are stacked, hips are stacked. Scoop it down into the hover and come up and over. And we'll go last one. As we hold it there, we're going to roll to our plank position and find a temporary pike here. In this pike, we're just taking a moment, locking our lats down our back, finding our feet connected into the earth. And let's engage the glutes, lengthening out into our plank. We've got 3 tricep push-ups. 1, and 2, and 3. Pike your hips up. Walk your hands in towards your feet. And we're going to slowly articulate it up to standing. Keeping those hips over those heels. Let's do that again. Inhale in, up and over. Exhale, dive over that imaginary waterfall. Try not to let your hips set back. Walking out to our best plank in 4, 3, 2, and 1. Lengthen heels to crown of the head. 3 tricep push-ups. 1, 2, remember, push that pubic bone forward, tailbone towards the heel. 3, pike it up. We've got one more set. Walk those hands back in. Anchor through those heels. Stack back up, 1 vertebrae at a time, till we're nice and tall. Finish with your final 1. Inhale in, up and over. Exhale, dive over that imaginary waterfall. Keeping the hamstrings, glutes, and abs active. Walk out 3, 2, organize the pelvis, tailbone to the heels, pubic bone draws up, shoulders back and down, double chin. The last set, 3, and 2, and 1. Good, let's go ahead and set those knees down. Give ourselves a nice little child's pose. Take a good deep breath into that back body. Now walk our hands over to the left. We're going to breathe into our singular lung, singular rib. And then walk our hands over to the other side. And come back to center. And let's go ahead and have a seat. You guys did excellent this morning. I hope you have an amazing Pilates day. I know that I'm very grateful for Joseph Pilates and his Contrology and all of the wonderful benefits I get because of it. And